The evening air was warm and gentle as Parker Matthews walked through the tree-lined streets of downtown Charleston with his 7-year-old daughter, Sophie. It had been their tradition for years now, these Thursday evening walks to get ice cream after her piano lessons. Sophie held his hand tightly, chattering about her day at school, about her friend Emma's birthday party, about the new song her teacher wanted her to learn. Parker listened with the half-attention of a busy man, nodding at the right moments while his mind drifted to tomorrow's board meeting, to the quarterly reports waiting on his desk, to the merger that could expand Matthews' financial group into 3 new states. At 43, he'd built something remarkable from the ground up, and it required constant vigilance to maintain. "Daddy, look!" Sophie tugged his hand, pointing to a colorful ice cream cart parked near the corner, its striped umbrella glowing under the streetlights. "Can we get some?" "Of course, Princess," Parker said, pulling out his wallet as they approached. That's when he noticed her. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, standing a few feet away from the cart. She wore a faded pink dress that had clearly been washed too many times, and her blonde hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail. She watched the other children, with their ice cream cones, with an expression that wasn't quite longing, but something deeper. Resignation, perhaps. The look of a child who had learned not to hope for things she couldn't have. Parker ordered Sophie's usual strawberry cone, and his daughter accepted it with a bright smile. As they turned to leave, the little girl suddenly stepped forward, not toward Parker, but toward Sophie. "That looks really good," the girl said softly, her voice carrying a maturity that didn't match her small frame. Sophie, with the generous heart of the well-loved, immediately offered her cone. "Do you want to try it?" The girl shook her head quickly. "No, thank you. I was just saying it looks nice." Parker found himself studying the child more closely. Her clothes were clean but worn. Her shoes were slightly too small, the toes pressing against the canvas. But it was her eyes that struck him. Old eyes in a young face, eyes that had seen more than they should have. "Would you like your own cone?" Parker asked gently. "My treat." The girl looked up at him, and for a moment, he thought she might accept. Then she shook her head again. "No, thank you, sir. I don't need anything." Something about the way she said it, with such dignity, such careful politeness, touched Parker in a way he hadn't expected. Before he could respond, a woman approached, and Parker immediately understood. The woman was young, probably late 20s, with the same blonde hair as the girl. She wore jeans and a simple white t-shirt, and she moved with the exhausted grace of someone who had worked a long shift on her feet. "Lily," the woman said softly, "I told you to stay by the bench." "I'm sorry, Mama," the girl said. "I just wanted to see the pretty cart." The woman noticed Parker and Sophie, and her expression shifted to cautious politeness. "I'm sorry if she bothered you." "Not at all," Parker said quickly. "I was just offering to buy her an ice cream." "That's very kind," the woman said, "but we're fine." "Come on, Lily." Parker watched them start to walk away, the little girl's hand in her mother's, and he felt something shift in his chest. Sophie tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, why doesn't she have ice cream?" "I don't know, sweetheart," Parker said honestly. "Can we give her money so she can buy some?" Parker looked at his daughter, at her innocent concern, and then back at the woman and child walking away. On impulse, he called out, "Excuse me, wait, please." The woman turned, wariness in her eyes. Parker approached slowly, pulling out his wallet. "I'm sorry, I don't mean to intrude, but my daughter and I would really like to buy you both ice. Cream, please. It would make Sophie happy." The woman looked at him for a long moment, clearly weighing pride against practicality. The little girl, Lily, looked up at her mother with hopeful eyes. "Please, Mama," she whispered. The woman's resistance crumbled. "All right. Thank you. That's very kind." They returned to the cart, and Parker bought cones for both Lily and her mother. He watched Lily's face transform as she tasted her chocolate ice cream, pure joy replacing that too-old expression. "I'm Parker," he said, extending his hand to the woman. "And this is Sophie." "Claire," the woman replied, shaking his hand briefly. "And this is Lily." "Hi, Lily," Sophie said brightly. "I'm 7. How old are you?" 5.5, Lily said, with the precision of young children who count half years as full accomplishments. They stood there for a few moments, an awkward group of 4 strangers connected by ice cream cones. Parker found himself not wanting to walk away, though he couldn't quite explain why. "Do you live nearby?" he asked Claire, trying to sound casual rather than intrusive. "We're staying at the Morrison Street shelter," Claire said, lifting her chin slightly as if daring him to judge. "Temporarily. I'm working to save enough for a deposit on an apartment." Parker nodded, keeping his expression neutral. "What kind of work do you do?" "Whatever I can find," Claire said. "Right now, I'm waitressing at the diner on 5th Street. Morning shifts. Lily comes with me sometimes. Does her coloring books in the back booth." Sophie, oblivious to the weight of the adult conversation, had begun talking to Lily about school and books and favorite colors. The two girls sat down on a nearby bench, and Parker gestured to another bench a few feet away. "May I?" he asked Claire. She hesitated, then nodded. They sat, watching their daughters interact. "I don't usually accept charity," Claire said quietly. "But Lily, she so rarely asks for anything. When she wanted to see the ice cream cart, I couldn't bring myself to pull her away." "It's not charity," Parker said. "It's just ice cream." Claire smiled slightly, a sad smile. "To you, maybe. To us, it's more than that." They sat in silence for a moment, and Parker found himself asking, "If you don't mind my asking, how did you end up at the shelter?" Claire was quiet for so long that Parker thought she might not answer. Then she spoke, her voice steady but soft. "My husband died 18 months ago. Heart attack. He was only 32. We didn't have much savings, and I didn't have life insurance on him because we couldn't afford it. I was working part-time as a dental assistant, but after he died, I couldn't keep up with the rent on my own. We bounced around, staying with friends, but I didn't want to overstay our welcome anywhere. The shelter. It's temporary, just until I can get enough together for first month and deposit." "I'm sorry," Parker said, meaning it. "Thank you," Claire replied. "We're managing. Lily is strong. She doesn't complain." Parker looked over at the little girl who was laughing at something Sophie had said. "She seems like a wonderful child." "She is," Claire said, and the love in her voice was unmistakable. "She's everything to me." They talked for a while longer, and Parker learned more. Claire had been studying to be a teacher before. She'd gotten married and had Lily. She'd put her dreams on hold to help support her husband, while he'd tried to start his own business. After he died, she'd tried to go back to school, but couldn't manage it financially while working full-time and caring for Lily. As the evening grew later, Parker felt an unfamiliar reluctance to say goodbye. "Listen," he said carefully, "my company is always looking for good people. If you're interested, I could help you find something more stable than restaurant work. Better hours, better pay, benefits." Claire looked at him with a mixture of hope and suspicion. "Why would you do that?" Parker considered the question. "Because I can," he said simply. "And because your daughter deserves to have a home, and you deserve a chance to get back on your feet." "I don't want a handout," Claire said firmly. "I'm not offering one," Parker replied. "I'm offering a job. You'd have to work for it, same as anyone else. But I can at least make sure you get a fair shot at an interview." Claire studied his face, searching for the catch. "What's your company?" "Matthews Financial Group," Parker said. "We have positions in various departments. With your background, you might be good in client relations or administrative support." Claire's eyes widened slightly. "You're that Parker Matthews? The CEO?" "I am," he admitted. She shook her head slowly. "I don't understand. Why are you doing this for complete strangers?" Parker looked over at Sophie and Lily, who were now standing by the ice cream cart, comparing the colors of their dresses. "Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. But something about meeting you and Lily, it reminded me of something I've forgotten lately. That life is more than quarterly reports and profit margins. That sometimes the most important thing we can do is help someone who needs it." The next week, Claire came in for an interview. Parker had arranged for her to meet with the head of client services. And he'd been honest. He'd explained that she was someone he'd met who needed a chance, but that the hiring decision would be based on her qualifications alone. She got the job on her own merit, though, impressing the department head with her professionalism and quick learning. Parker helped her find an affordable apartment and arranged for the company to advance her enough for the deposit to be paid back through small payroll deductions. Within a month, Claire and Lily had moved out of the shelter and into a small but clean two-bedroom place near Sophie's school. The girls had become fast friends, and Claire would sometimes bring Lily to the office after school. Parker found himself looking forward to those visits, to Lily's shy smile and Claire's growing confidence. One afternoon, about 3 months after